everybody. Jay Young here today, the beginning of 2026. Wow, man, Jordan Soto, my co-host right there. Hey, Jordan, I'm looking so forward to 2026. It's going to be a banner. Should we say banner or epic? What do you like better? You like
I
banner,
kind of
epic?
like epic. I kind of like epic. I feel like
Uh,
I think that's what we're going for.
we're definitely going for that. We're definitely going to hit it. We're going to hit a tremendous amount of goals this year. And who's going to help us other than Yosi Amram, right? Amram,
Amram, yeah, Jay.
Amram. Here we
Yeah,
go. Here's Yosi. Yosi, welcome to the show, the Jay Young Show. We appreciate having you on. You're a CEO coach. You help guys think big. Is that right?
yeah. We all need to think big, and we
All
all
need to
see
think.
we all CEOs of our life, whether we're CEOs of our companies. But
Yeah.
yeah, we need to think big.
Think
And
big. We're going to get into all of that, and we're going to get into a lot more. This is going to be an incredible program. Are we doing the Jay's 5 weekly things this week,
Oh,
Jordan?
oh yeah,
Are we do? Oh,
absolutely.
all
It's at
right,
the
good.
very end though, so you got to stick around to know
Got to stick
what's
around
going
to the
on.
end. We got the Bible verse of the week, the word of the week. We have the podcast you're listening to, the book, and a TV show or something. Maybe Landman. Maybe Landman comes in
Who
here.
knows? Got to stick around and find
Whoa, got
out.
to stick
But
around.
Jay, to start off, I really want to get your perspective on what you think about the Venezuela situation. It's top of news, it's top of mind. Everyone has their opinion on it. What about you? What are investors and consumers looking at, and what should they realistically expect?
Yeah, and Saturday morning, my wife and I took some much needed vacation after our incredible we had a busy December,
Yes.
and I woke up and I heard the news, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's neat. I mean, we're going to take over some Venezuela. It's kind of in the works. We've talked about it on the show. We've talked about it a couple of times about what's going to happen, what we think is going to happen, and then I've had multiple interviews around the country today, people saying, "Oh, man, is this Armageddon for the oil and gas industry? Are
Right.
prices going to $20? Are they going to?
Yeah.
Is it going to just flood the markets?" And I said, no, unless unless you can landman Venezuela. Okay, now let's talk about that for a second. Now, remember in the show Landman, it's on my True and False, but you know, Cooper goes out and he drills like 6 wells in the afternoon. His girlfriend couldn't get a hold of him for like 3 hours, and supposedly during that time, he drilled 6 wells. Well, we know that's all BS. I mean, we know you can't drill 6 wells in an afternoon. It would take you
What?
literally
Are you
months and
sure?
months and months. I know. Yeah, we're drilling 2 wells right now, and we're down about 1,000 feet, and it's taken us 2 weeks to drill 1,000, and we're still drilling 16,000 feet. So there's a long way to go before you
Yeah.
drill. But anyway, but what that means is you just don't wake up and go Venezuela, and then you look for the spigot to turn on, and the oil just starts coming out of the ground.
Right, right.
They've had so much, with dictatorship, with
Mhm.
mismanagement, turmoil. They don't have an infrastructure to drill for
Right.
oil and gas, and that part. It's going to be a long time before it even makes a factor for the oil and gas industry. Meaning, is it going to lower the prices? I mean, are they just going to flood our markets? I mean, we're going to make the price of oil is not going to go up and down just because of one entity. It
Right.
because you have so much oil anyway. I mean, look at OPEC.
Mhm.
OPEC Plus says we're going to put a million and a half barrels of oil in the markets, and all of a sudden they don't. And
Right.
it's like, okay, well, the price is still 57, 58. It's what these countries want it to be.
Right.
That's what the price of oil is going to be. It's out of our control. And it's always going to be where producers can produce it, efficiently. And they're going to watch it. It's going to go down here, maybe a little bit more by the end of next year. I've always said it's going to 70, 80, even $90, could be $90 a barrel by the end of next year or this year, which 2026 now. But yeah, this year because of supply. We're not drilling for oil and gas in the United States, so we're not. I know, Jordan. Here you go, man. You got me on this thing going. I'm like, man,
I'm hey, I'll reel you in if you want me to, but I like where you're going. I mean, you're
uh,
speaking your truth. So, but
uh,
I think it's really interesting because when we're looking at Venezuela, I had some friends who were working in Chevron, and whenever they tried to go and work there, it was a dangerous environment, and there had to be exit strategies and exit plans, and the navigation of that landscape and the dangers that come along with that. I just don't know that we're in a position as an oil and gas industry to really take that on as some of the companies may want to.
mhm.
But it is interesting to see the dynamic, especially as of late. And then just a little offshoot of this, obviously, some Chevron employees were pulled out of Venezuela, but we're also looking at people pulling out of California. I mean, Valero taking, $1 billion hit to exit California during this year. What are your thoughts on that and the kind
Man.
of flight from California?
Yeah, well, and I mean, they've done nothing. California is a train wreck when you're talking about oil and gas and what they need there. They're paying $5, $6 a gallon, and they're shutting down refineries. They're charging people every mile they drive in California. I mean, it's like they can't get ahead of themselves or behind themselves. And if Gavin Newsom ever runs for president and wins, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people that said I'm leaving the country if Trump gets in. Yeah, I'm leaving the country if Gavin Newsom gets in. What a I mean, man, you talking about what will prices be? No
Right,
telling. They hate oil and gas, but they don't understand they need it. They have to have it.
right,
And yeah, hey, maybe you don't like it, but it doesn't mean you're going to just, you know, be away from it forever or not. You got to have it. I mean, it's
right.
unfortunately that's just the way it is. And so you're going to have it, and we're going to need it for a long time. Tesla cars were 8% of the country's sales, car sales. Now it's like 2, 3%. I mean,
Mm,
Teslas aren't taking over anytime soon. You
yeah.
know, the California, don't get me started. I can go forever. I mean, we got to
I
talk
was
about
gonna
Yosi here.
say,
Man, I talk about the Federal Express and all the electric cars, and they said, hey, we're going completely electric by 2035. And they've pushed that out. Well, I think it was 2030 first. And then they said 2035. And then they said,
right.
well, let's just see what happens,
Right. But I mean, I think we've seen that time and time again with
Yeah.
the green wave in the industry, and the transformation that's been happening with that. But
Yeah.
you hit on a little point here that kind of ties Yossi in, which is Tesla. When we're looking at CEO strategy, what Elon Musk has been able to do, not just with Tesla, but also, I mean, let's not forget SpaceX, the growth that SpaceX has seen, his vision and what he's been able to do as a CEO, I think is very
Oh,
legendary. And here to talk about CEO strategy, taking it from a place of loneliness and then getting to that growth of resilience and clarity and presence. I think that Yossi can provide a lot of insight on that. What do you say, Jay? Should we bring him in?
I think we should bring him in. Yoshi, come on in and let's join the party here, man. This is great.
Okay. Thank you. I can't wait to join. You guys have been having great time, Jay and
Hey, man,
Jordan. I've been entertained. I was like, okay, I love this party. Can I
I
join? When
tell
can
you.
I?
Jordan's great. She is great. We get along very well. We feed off each other for information, and it's like she's it's like great information, and we just go back and forth very well. Let's
Thank
talk
you,
about
Jay.
CEOs for a second. Oh, you're welcome, Jordan.
I
Sorry
was like,
about
I'm a brand new CEO, so I can learn a lot from this. And you've been a CEO for a while, Jay. So I think
yeah.
that maybe we have like some bits and pieces here that are really complementary that Yossi can, highlight. And Yossi, you're a CEO yourself.
I was. I had two companies that I had the good fortune of taking public, but these days I'm the CEO of my life and my home, and I try and run my life pretty good. We're all, we all have to lead our own lives before we lead anybody else. But yeah, kidding aside, I coach CEOs. That's what I do professionally as a psychologist, as a leadership coach, and Yeah, I've been in their shoes, so I understand the challenges. It's not an easy role, and as you mentioned, the word is loneliness. It is lonely to be a CEO, and there's a variety of reasons. We could talk about them, but it's important. It's important to have.
What is, yeah, let me ask you this. What attracted you to become a CEO coach? So you had two exits, and then you go, hey, you know what? Uh, I think I could do this, and teach them. I don't want to say what makes you feel like that you have enough information, or you're, what drives you, or what do you tell your CEOs? Is that two questions? Jordan knows. Jordan knows, man. Before I wind down, I may ask 4 or 5 questions. But
I was gonna say, I think it was three, but
yeah,
I think to your point,
why?
right.
Right? Why did you want to become a CEO coach? And then two, what makes you think that what you've done helps you, or how do you help them with your experiences, your personal experiences, and then three, what do you teach, or how does this work? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Give us all the
okay,
details.
all right. Let's see. Okay, how many days do we have here? You want me to give my all my secrets in 3 minutes? Let's see if I could do it.
All right, I
And
got the stopwatch
tell
ready.
my life story. But basically, I was in that role, and it's a lonely role, and I had my own crises and needed support, and I did not have a coach.
I see.
And I think if I had a coach that could help ground me and center me and connect me to my essence and my depth and find my North Star in the midst of the chaos, I would have done a lot better. And so I think we all need somebody to support us. And I know we have this very individualistic culture. It's important to have confidence in ourselves and trust in ourselves. But I think the best athletes, get on the field and compete themselves, but they all recognize that they need a coach. And
Right.
they need
Hmm.
someone that can look at them from the outside and says, oh, can look at them objectively and say, oh, this is your strength, play to it this way. And these are the things you need to develop. And they can give them an objective mirroring and a sounding board. And especially as a CEO, you don't have anybody that's your peer. You've got your investors or
Mhm.
your board, and they can hire and fire you and determine your compensation. And you got to, treat them as your boss. And then you got your team who looks at you as their boss and their leader. So you can't really confide in them completely and be transparently vulnerable, etc.,
Hmm.
because you are their authority figure. So, but we all need somebody. We need a friend. We need a supportive thing. And I experienced it in the pain of not having it. Now, I managed okay, and but if you're interested in peak performance and doing your best, as opposed to your egoic pride that says I did it myself, then you enlist in the best support tools that you can. And that's why I do it. We learn things in a part of life, and then we want to give back and pass our wisdom and lessons to others. And that's the most fulfilling work that we could do.
Yeah.
Jay, when we're looking at you as somebody who's leading investment strategy and building a company, some of the things that Yossi is saying is like, not like the weight of decision making and strategy building for you, what does that look like and how have you navigated that space? And do you have someone like Yossi that you work with to help be a sounding board?
Yeah. That's a good question. And yeah, I've had a CEO coach since I started in business for myself in 1995, before Jordan was born. And then let me see,
I was 2 years old.
oh, two. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then in '96, I started King Operating Corporation, and which is still going. And then I think I started like 2002, three, four, with a CEO coach. Not that I don't read, or but I mean, a CEO is somebody that has a business that you don't have to watch day to day, right? I don't have to watch our business day to day. I could be here on vacation, or I could be, you know, thinking big or whatever outside my company, and it still runs, gives me revenue, right? I heard Grant Cardone the other day said, I've got 5 businesses right now, and he said my 5 businesses generate me $700 million a year in revenue. From his sales and real estate and all the other things that he's got going. Yeah, I know it's $700 million a year in revenue, and I mean we don't have
Clutching
that
my
much.
pearls over here, like, okay, I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna get there one day.
But it's somebody that it's like for every business that he has like for King Operating. King Operating, we have our sales part, uh, raising capital side. We have our accounting side. We have our operations side, and our sales, marketing, accounting, operations. Those 4 things. And there's somebody that takes care of all 4 of those. So I need somebody to help me think about what's the next step. What are we going to accomplish in 2026? And I have this I have this vision for 2026 of my 20, I call it 20 J units, and drilling 20 J units and selling, because we want to drill 20 wells in a proven area and leave offset locations to them and then sell. And
Right.
so I'm thinking about the whole thing of how much does that cost? What's the return? What is it? The whole 9 yards. So I don't. A lot of times when you're talking to your people, your peers, they're telling you what you want to hear. You
Mm,
know, or they're trying to persuade you of the path of least resistance,
right.
right? Because hey, you know what? You
Oh,
know,
that's a lot of work. Oh, you have to
yeah,
invest this, that, and the other
that's
thing. Did you
that's
think
not going to
about
work.
this? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not going to work because we did that back in the '80s and it
Right. Fill
didn't.
in the
What I
blank.
mean, exactly. So you have to have somebody that I talk to, like a Yosi, and say, hey, here it is, man. This is what I think. What do you think?
Right.
Yeah, well, and they help get everybody on board, I
Right.
guess. What's the first thing? Um, what's the biggest? What's the smallest set of the smallest um, CEO or something that you ran, Yossi, or that you've helped out? Who's the smallest CEO? And what I mean by that is revenues or employees or whatever, and what's normal?
Well, I mean, the smallest in some cases have also become well, some of the biggest. So I've worked with people from startup when it's them and three, four other people founding a company. And in some cases, I've worked with them over 10 years and they've built a billion, $2 billion business. So
Wow.
it's not, I've had the good fortune of working with three people who've become billionaires, and a number of the companies that I've coach the CEOs have reached revenues in the billions and thousands of employees. So it's really the journey from startup and idea, and then how you build a team around them. And I
Mm,
was really happy to hear that you said, "Hey, my business runs. I just need a coach to help me think strategically in the vision." That means you've built a team of people around you that you can trust. And I assume that that was not always the case on day one for you. So they
Mhm.
got to know you, you got to know them, they understand your expectations, you have confidence in their skills, they work as a team, and you know who each of their strengths and then how they play ball together. So that's no small feat. And that enables you as the CEO to step back and think about the strategy and the vision for the year and map out. And then you've got this coach to help you think it through. Now, a lot of CEOs are like, they don't have that coach, they don't have their confidant or whatever, and they have their spouse or partner that
mm.
they keep going home and they
Well,
talk
Jay
to
has
them.
that too. Jay has a lot of advisors on his
Well,
team.
that's great. But you don't want to burden your primary
Right.
romantic relationship with work all the time. It's great that you can confide in your spouse and talk about what's on your mind, etc. But they're not gonna give you that same business level objective
Right.
view that your coach can do. So
Mm,
anyway, I hope I'm kind of giving you a sense of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think you are. And one of the things that I thought was really curious and you really do dive deep into is the emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence and showing and having that show up in real business decisions. One of the key things that Jay and I, really believe in is having that spiritual intelligence to then integrate that into decision making and having that firm foundation to stand on as you make business decisions. So let's talk a little bit more about your approach of emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence and how those two work together for business decisions and of sound mind.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So yeah, I mean, I think we all understand the importance of IQ and our cognitive intelligence. If you run a business, you obviously have to have some basic cognitive intelligence. You got to understand your spreadsheet and your cash flow and forecasts and pricing and commission plan for your sales team and balance sheet and income statement, etc. So you gotta do have all the analytical skills. But you're working with people, and you're
Mhm.
working with people that have emotions, that have needs, and sometimes you get into tough situations where the business requires a restructuring, requires a layoff. And at that point, you have to know you got to take the hard business decision, but you got to do it in a way that is compassionate and humane and doesn't demoralize and doesn't get people to lose trust in you because people have been working hard for months, years, some cases or more, and then they see their peers being laid off. So you got to take that hard decision. Otherwise, it's not kind to the business and doesn't serve anybody. But at the same time, you got to do it in a sensitive way that's attuned to people, message it, and people got to feel your heart that you're not just looking at it as a spreadsheet, that there are human beings behind this and it's going to affect their life. So that's all requires that emotional attunement and sensitivity to people. And then the synthesis and the balance between being hard-nosed about the business that has a bottom line, that has to be profitable, has to be sustainable, and at the same time involves the people. And then the other things is you're always as a CEO, you've got different departments. You got, your R&D and engineering, and they're focused on technology and innovation and quality, and they want to do the best product, but it may take 5 extra years. And you got your sales and marketing people, and they want it to be done yesterday. And
Yeah.
there's competition, and they want a low price. So you have to synthesize, and you take a holistic view. So it's not just driven by the engineers, not just driven by the salespeople. So you got to integrate all of that and bring those people together towards a common purpose. So you got to have a vision that inspires people, that tell them this is why we are here. And
Right.
Mhm.
we are all in this together. And that's you align your personal purpose with the purpose of the organization. You have this vision, you have this mission, and that aligns people and brings them together. And now you have a community of people that have a shared purpose and a shared set of values. And
Right.
that's really super important because we're dealing with a world with a loneliness epidemic. People
Right.
are working on their own, but reality is that we spend more of our waking hours with our colleagues at work than anybody else. So you got to have a shared sense of purpose, a shared sense of values, and a shared mission. And that's kind of what, as an inspired, spiritually intelligent leader, you got to do to bring people and bring out the best in them. So you feel actualized, they feel actualized. There's a sense of belonging. There's a sense of purpose.
Mhm.
So the cognitive intelligence is important, but these other emotional and spiritual intelligence are super important. And as a leader, I'll just say one more thing. Leadership is you got to know, you got to follow your own inner compass and you got to
Right.
follow your North Star. And so you have to be able to tune in to your intuition, to your spirit, I might dare I say. Now, when you think about it, what is spirit? It's the animating breath of life. And, I remember one of my first Harvard Business School cases was managers and leaders. Are they the same or different? Well,
Different.
managers are super important. They make decisions, allocate resources. What do leaders do? They inspire. Now, what's the root word of inspire is spirit. What is breath? Spirit is the animating breath of life. So we got to connect to our spirit. So as leaders, we are inspired. We can't expect to inspire anybody else until when we're inspired. So I like to say, first and foremost, leadership is an inside job. You got to lead yourself. We got to get inspired. And how do we get inspired? We got to connect to our depth. We got to connect to our spirit. And when we're connected to our spirit, then our sense of purpose and our passion and our aliveness and our fire, starts to burn bright and hot. And that ignites a resonant flame with people around us. And people that resonate with our values and our mission and our vision are naturally drawn. And now you have a community of people that have a shared intention and a shared sense of purpose. And that multiplies the energy, and it becomes very energizing and activating and enlivening, and people are happy because they're fully actualized and enlivened, and they feel they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Right. Well, when we're looking at all of this and you're looking at that internal compass and you're digging deep and coming from that depth, I'm sure that sometimes you can be, maybe there are some blind spots that occur because of passion, maybe. So, curious, Jay, you've been in business for a long time. What are some blind spots that you've seen other CEOs have a tendency towards? And then Yosi, I'm interested to see your perspective of that as well. Jay?
I'd like to know how he would have,
Oh, okay, we can go with Yosi.
you know, like say, hey, yeah, well, Yossi would say, yeah, Jay, and this is what I normally do. My mistakes, which I've got a tool shed or a big box of them back here somewhere but I think the biggest thing when you say that, Jordan, I think about what are some of the biggest things and I think as well because I'm very optimistic, right? And most CEOs are very optimistic and they see forward. My wife, she runs a day to day on a lot of our stuff, and she and if it's either going positive or negative, she's going to be on the negative side or the realistic. Maybe I say the realistic side,
Realistic.
because
That's yeah, yeah, that's fair.
you know, which is another word that we don't like around our office. I don't like around our office, but anyway, our engineers. But we have tons of engineers in our office too, so it's kind of hard to
You
get
need
away from that.
both. You need
Yeah,
both.
you do need that both, but for me, I think it's more. You believe in people,
Mhm.
and then they're really not. They're out the door, or their mind's out the door, or they're whatever. Or and I think that um, probably being optimistic. I'm very
Yeah.
optimistic, and I'm very you know I'm very optimistic about what's going to happen in the future, and I think that's it. So if me and you were going back and forth, Yossi, and you said, "Hey, Jay, I think that's a little premature," or that's what would you say, or how would you get me off that ledge? How would you talk me down off that
He's
ledge? I
ready to
guess.
go with his balloons. He's channeling his inner up, all right?
No,
He's ready
I
to
think
go.
I think this is great. So yeah, we need this reach for the heavens, reach for the moon, right?
We're reaching.
And
We're
Yep.
we're
going.
reaching, yeah. But we got to stay rooted. We got to stay rooted on the earth. So I think that it's that tension between the inspiring vision and the art of the possible and being grounded and rooted. So, it's that yin and yang that you talked about. You said you need the realist and the optimist, or the pessimist and the optimist, the tension, the yin and the yang, and you need them both. And
Hmm.
so I mean, I think it's really grounding oneself and then asking feedback. So, part of the thing as leadership is also there's the leading from the front. So if you have a vision, it's very optimistic. It's like, hey, we're going there, follow me. And that's great. That's one form of leadership. But then the other form of leadership is leading from behind. Because if you run too far ahead of your team, then some of the people are staying behind, and then now the
Right.
team is dispersed. So you got to run forward, have that optimism, that great vision, and then you got to run back and kind of like a shepherd,
I was
you know,
gonna say, we gotta
lead.
channel our little Australian shepherd selves here.
Yeah,
Go run
okay,
around.
yeah. So you you get people supported and cajoled from behind. So people are moving as a team, as a pack. So I would say if you are getting overly optimistic, it's like, okay, go talk to your team and what are their constraints and let's bring them on board.
Mhm.
And that will start to ground you because they are in the trenches dealing with the reality of it. So if you're so optimistic and so inspired, that's beautiful. But now let's bring it down to where the rubber meets the road. Because if you run ahead too far of your team and they don't believe in their ability to execute,
Hmm.
you're isolating yourself and you don't have a team that can really deliver on what you're trying to do.
I think the
Oh.
other key part of that is having trust to allow for the opportunity for candor. When you have candor of the team and the trust to do so, then you can take that optimism and that realistic vantage point and have those two meet in the middle where you can have clear conversation and communication, maybe a little bit of conflict, but it gets to a conclusion that's beneficial for the company and for everyone involved. And I think that that's a really important part.
Yeah, so you have the psychological safety, and as people talk
Mhm.
about it now, where people can voice disagreement, but you can debate the ideas without
Right.
necessarily making people bad. So
Yeah.
you're debating the ideas as opposed to putting
White
down
hat, black hat,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, but just to one trick I like to use is I would interview you, Jay, and say, okay, channel your VP of Ops, and what would whatever his or her name be, what are they going to say to you? And people all of a sudden, oh, let me get in their shoes. And then they start to, so you have this inner dialogue between the part of you, because some part of us knows a lot more than we believe we know. And you're taking the position and you're debating with your VP of Ops or whatever, the person who has to deliver on it, and they're debating against you, but you're debating against them and you're kind of taking an oppositional point of view. But one of the things I like to do with my clients is like, okay, why don't you switch chairs and now you take their position? And now I'm going to talk to you, not like your CEO, Jay, but you're like Jane, VP Ops. And
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Jane, tell me what you think about Jay's plan. Well, he's this and this and that. Okay, so now you've kind of gotten into Jane's shoes and you start to internalize and look at the world from Jane's shoes or whatever his or her name is. I hope you don't mind me just uh,
Well,
uh,
it reminds me back this past month or so is like, okay, so I'd like to have our audit done on our books by the end of December, and then we refinance our bank loans by January. And so it was into probably first week or two of December. I said something to our operations guy. I said, hey, yeah, well, I was hoping to get these books done, by the end of December. And he said, oh, no, no, that wasn't my goal. That was your goal. And I'm like, well, I'm not the one doing the work, dude. You're the one that's putting the things in. But, I guess when I get all fired up and everything like I do, he's not going to stop me and go, Jay, let's be realistic. We're not going to get this thing done in December. It's going to take January. We'll get it done in January, and then we'll get the financing by February, so I guess that's one of the biggest things. Communication obviously is a big one. It's you got to have great communication between the CEO and the operations guy. I mean, right now I don't have. I had a guy that was I was the CEO. He was the president, and he ran all divisions underneath me. I don't have that anymore right now, or so I'm kind of like the CEO president,
Mm.
running the different divisions, and then pretty soon I'll bring in somebody probably by end of this year or probably end of this year we'll have another. I have a guy that I'll put up here, or I may divide two of our businesses out and start a third business by the end of this year is what I'm kind of thinking. A real estate, I think I need a fundraising side. I think I need operations, oil and gas side, and maybe a real estate. So those may be three, but all three have a leader.
Right.
All three have a leader of all the different functions underneath them, breaking out by different operations, accounting, sales, you know all that stuff. So
I feel
anyway,
like
let's
Yosi has some thoughts. I see the
yeah,
eyebrows
oh,
twitching.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I was just thinking about, first of all, the thing you described with your operations guy about closing the books in December versus January. I think that's a healthy creative tension.
I
The fact
agree.
that you're pushing for faster, more, whatever, and they're like, okay, but well, let's be realistic, etc. And that creative tension is actually healthy, like you said earlier. And then when you talk about the CEO and the president, etc., I mean, in a family, and I hate to think about it this way, but I do like to think about it this way because it's true. A business, in a sense, is like replicates the psychology of a family. In a family, there's sort of a father figure and a mother figure, a figure that's more disciplinarian and is like
Mhm.
stretching the children, and then there's a side that's more nurturing. And I think, in a company you need to have both roles, and it's rare to find one person that they can dynamically move and
Right.
embody both of those energies. So,
Hmm.
but you see in a lot of companies, whether it's Facebook, you get a Mark Zuckerberg, who's a visionary engineer, etc., but he had Sheryl Sandberg to kind of, run the sales side, etc. So you get
Hmm.
this yin and yang, the mother father type of figures, the one that's always stretching and disciplining, and then the side that the someone that people can come to and cry on their shoulders, and kind of someone nurtures them and picks them back up after they feel beaten up.
Yeah. Hey, so how does this work out? How do you, and I've been through several CEO coaches, so I got to have my ideas about what each person, obviously, what each person did. How do you do this? And is it all online? If I wanted to sign up and go, yep, hey, I'm in. Here's my check. What would that look like? What would you send me, or what would you when
Well,
we
I
talk?
send you a retainer agreement. Basically, I that says you start meeting with me on some frequency, either weekly or every other week, and I'm available in between those meetings. But you could terminate me at any moment on a 2 week notice because I gotta. It's kind of at will if I deliver the value. But the main thing I'm gonna do is turn you into yourself. So it's like give a man a fish, you feed him for the day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. So I think people have a lot more wisdom and intuition and a higher self and a deeper spirit. And so what I keep doing is I ask questions that turn things back into you, into your depth, so you could discover the hidden wisdom that you have. And it's
Hmm.
amazing when people start to tune into themselves, the insight, the wisdom that they can bring in, the intuitions that they have. But we have so much information through our body, through our information, through our higher self. We have a wise figure that, for somebody, it's our grandparent that we, in moment of crisis, we could talk to our grandparent. What would they say? How should
Right.
you navigate it? Or for some people, it's a spiritual teacher or a figure, whether it's the Buddha or Jesus, or talk to God. I mean, however
Hmm.
way people tune into their higher self.
Mhm.
But that's a skill that people develop. And then when we tap into that, then we deepen and we grow. One of my favorite tricks is to say, okay, whatever the problem is, imagine 50, yourself 10, 15 years from now. You've achieved whatever you want. So, Jordan, for you, it's having that $700 million business that you were touching on your pearl. Imagine Jordan 15 years from now, 20 years from now, she have done all of that.
I've done
Okay,
it.
now in it, this Jordan interview that Jordan who's 15, 20 years from now. And what and it's amazing all of a sudden by just doing this mind trick of thinking, oh, I've
Hmm.
already achieved everything I want. Now I'm confident, I'm compassionate, I'm wise, I'm experienced. What would that higher self of yours, that future self advice give you? And
Interesting.
boom, people have, amazing insights because we're not so caught up in the immediacy. It gives us perspective. We're already successful. And so, as we imagine ourselves already being successful, we're starting to embody that, and we walk around the world with that energy. And that's kind of like we're laying the tracks in our neural pathways and in the universe. And I think it even says when you pray, believe that your prayer has been fulfilled, and that will be fulfilled. So it's kind of like when you pray, I think Jesus says, when you pray, believe that your prayer has been fulfilled. Because if you can't believe it's true, it's going to be true, then your whole mind, body, psyche is not going to act in alignment with it. And
Right.
this is a
Hmm.
trick they do in sports psychology. You're going for the swing with your golf. You visualize the ball landing in the hole. You take a serve as a tennis player. You visualize the ball going in the corner. So, you practice basketball, you visualize, and there's been studies that show that people that visualize stuff without even practicing, they improve their game just through the visualization because
Right.
your brain has now gotten wired to perform in a new way. So anyway, my point is by visualizing our success, our future, where we have accomplished what we wanted, and then we work backward. Like, Stephen
Yeah.
Covey said, begin with the end in mind and then work backwards to now.
If
Yeah. How do you measure what's going on with your business? Or had I mean, we have one of our deals in our CEO. We go through EOS. I'm sure you've heard of EOS, and the guy was in Tiger 21, as a matter of fact, the guy that started EOS. But we use 90.io for numbers. So we see, there's like for each for operations, barrels of oil per day. How much were they this week? How much were they last week? What's the increase? Blah blah blah. Sales or marketing. Like we generate leads for our high net worth individuals, and of that, we track how do we create leads. We've done Newsmax commercials. We've done radio interviews. We've done the what's generating it the most and what's the biggest success. How do you what is it that you do, or do you talk about that, or do you go into that at all, or are you?
Yeah, well, the key is like if you're flying an airplane or driving a car, you need an instrument panel that tells
Yeah.
you what's going on. And for each business is what are, your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So you got to know for this business, these are the key performance indicators. These are my leading indicators. These are my trailing indicators. And you're driving your car, you're flying your airplane with this instrument panel. And so you want to have kind of the snapshot instrument panel that gives you a snapshot of the business, and it's
Hmm.
got to fit on, one sheet, one thing that you could take a quick scan and say, okay, this is green, this is green, this is yellow, this is red, and then you go, okay, you work backwards. Okay, this is yellow. What is going back here? That how do we get it back to green?
right.
And
Hmm.
so, yeah, you need that kind of thing. And there are different methodologies and languages. There's KPIs, key performance indicators. There's OKRs. There's, uh, but
Okay. But
whatever
that's
it
something
is.
that you go over. You do go over that with your CEOs and see where they are
Yeah,
and see. Okay. I'm
yeah.
just trying to figure out what makes you different. What's different about you than another CEO? And I know you wrote a book. Is that true? You wrote a book in the background
Yeah, spiritual
spiritually.
intelligent leadership. So what makes me different is that, or one of the things that, let me say, that gives me joy, that makes me unique and love what I do, is that I can look at a business's cash flow and income statement and their OKRs and the KPIs and put on my business hat and talk about how you pitch your business to investors and how you get your credit line with the bank, etc. But the next moment, I'm talking about spiritual intelligence and how to connect to your heart and how to deal with your trauma And when you project some of your history and mother and father issues on your employees or your board members. So it's kind of the blending of the psychological perspective, because I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm a business person that can understand the business, and I work with this spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence. So it's the ability to bring all of that into my relationship. And I think my clients benefit from having one person that can meet them where they are on all these dimensions of their role. And
Hmm.
so
Okay. Is that book? Where can you get the book?
you can get it anywhere, online, like Amazon. It's been an Amazon bestseller and bestseller on C-Suite and a number of other places, Barnes and Noble. And it's won some awards. I'm doing a little commercial. It's got the gold medal awards in its category. But I mean, I think what makes the book unique is that it's not just a theoretical framework about what spiritual intelligence is and how it applies to leadership, but for each quality of spiritual intelligence,
Hmm.
there are case studies with clients, with real life clients, how they face a real business problem in a situation and how tapping into that spiritual intelligence resource really helped them address it. And then there are exercises for the reader to work on that. So you don't develop your spiritual intelligence by just reading a theory about it, just like you don't get
Right.
physically fit by reading a book about health. You got to go to the gym, you
We
got to
wish
do the
though.
workout. Huh?
We wish.
We wish, we wish. Yeah, well, I like going to and exercising, whether it's the gym or walking on the beach or hiking in the forest, or, we like to exercise our potential. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but the point is that this is all practical and it's grounded in case studies and with exercises that you could do. So I don't
Hmm.
recommend someone just read it over a week and get it. It's like, no,
Right.
you read each chapter for a week, you do the exercise, you reflect on it, and you build this capacity. And it's a lifelong journey to grow and actualize
Wow.
ourselves and become more spiritually intelligent.
Wow. That's good. So it's not necessarily just a CEO. Yeah, it's also you want to dig down into the CEO and help them, by saying, okay, hey, you know what, it's this is all about you, but it's about your spiritual, it's about your health, it's about. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know if I've ever had a CEO coach or heard about a CEO coach that talked about spiritual or health. Yeah, probably so. I mean, I'm in Tiger 21. That's a big group of entrepreneurs that built their businesses up, and I think that's more about health than anything else. But that's not a personalized coach that we have. It's a different.
Yeah, but I
He
mean,
has
my
a.
clients, as they work with me over the years, it transforms their entire life. Think about it. One of the issues that make you more effective as a leader manager is your quality of presence. If you go into your one-on-ones with your staff and you're distracted looking at your phone and email, and they're doing the same, the quality of the interaction is going to be really poor. So you
Right.
got to
Hmm.
go in with presence, with intentionality, give them the respect of attending to them, and have a quality conversation. So if you develop that authentic presence and mindfulness and intentionality, that then translates into how you have your dinner date with your spouse on Saturday night, or how you sit with your teenage kids at home. And my clients that start to practice these qualities of presence, then they find that, oh my God, this is so crucial in other aspects of my life. I just completed a study. My doctoral research was about leadership and spiritual intelligence and with CEOs, and how leaders that were more spiritually intelligent were more effective leaders. They had more committed teams, they higher morale, lower turnover. It's been shown that leaders with greater spiritual intelligence produce better financial results than
Mhm.
others. And banks where employees have higher spiritual intelligence produce better ROI. on their assets, return on
Mm.
assets. So this all pays in the bottom line in the business realm. But then the other realm people care about is our homes and our relationship. I just completed a study with 100 couples looking at emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and this thing everybody talks about, attachment theory, secure attachment, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and what contributes to satisfying relationships with people that have been together for at least 4 years. So they're beyond just the falling in love state. And the most
Hmm.
significant contributor to relational satisfaction is spiritual intelligence.
Mm.
So, this is relevant as you develop these qualities. Not only does it transform your business and your leadership, makes you a more effective leader, it transforms your life and your
Hmm.
relationships become deeper and more fulfilling. So that's why I'm excited about it
Isn't
because
it,
I
isn't
think,
it kind of hard though when you talk about spiritual, and because I had this too, because I grew up in the church, and then I got away from it. Last 10 years or so, I've gotten back into it, and I've had guys that have just been horrible, and I've hired them, and they've done things to me or whatever, and I'm like, I should sue the total crap out of or whatever. And my wife's like, okay, now Jay, be careful here. We're God's people, and we don't want to. And I'm like, no, I want to. I want to do some things to them I probably should mention on this program, type deal. And how do you go? Hey, just yeah, you got to protect yourself. It's kind of hard. I can't just go, oh yeah, hey, run over me because I'm a Christian. I'm not going to come after you. I can't do that.
yeah, no,
So
I think this is a huge question you're bringing up. I'm glad you're bringing it up. It's a great question. So first of all, let me be clear that spiritual, and people think spiritual means you're woo-woo, ungrounded, it's esoteric, blah, blah, blah. So there's a dichotomy in our culture between the spiritual and the practical. There used to be a dichotomy between emotional and reasonable until and when they came up with emotional intelligence. And now we understand being emotionally intelligent is not mean being emotional. Someone who's
mhm.
emotional, I ask you who in your life is emotional, and you might think of some people that get teary in a heartwarming puppy commercial and they emote a lot, but they're out of control. If I say who's emotionally intelligent, they have a sense of mastery over their emotions. They're aware of their emotions, they manage their emotions, they don't fly off the handle. So emotional intelligence and being emotional is different. Spiritual intelligence is different than being quote unquote spiritual. You could be spiritual and, believe in God, go to church on Sunday, whatever it is, but you're not grounded. It's about how you embody these qualities of purpose and service and trust. And you do need to you might think about forgiveness or compassion, but you also need to be devoted to truth and justice. So again,
Mhm.
the yin and the yang. If you're just like a nice person and this person does something illegal and crossed you, etc., and you say, "Well, I'm a good Christian, I'm not going to do anything," you are not really helping that person because there are consequences that they need to carry.
Yeah.
So that's not really. Now, you also want to do it from a place of justice and rightness, not just taken over by vindictive hate.
Mhm.
And so this is the balance. But if you connect to your spirit and your higher self, this future self that I mentioned 15 years out, you will find the way to do the right thing that calls them on their responsibility and accountability, not just being a doormat that people could step all over, because that's not good for you. It's not good for anybody. But you don't want to be so burnt with hate and vindictiveness that that's not good for your health or anything. It's
Or
not good for your
business,
business.
because it
Yeah,
could burn some
exactly.
bridges. It could backfire. It's really focusing that, like, at the core of it, what is the purpose and where is it actually coming from? And if there is justice that needs to be served,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
does that look like? But again, it goes back to that, like, that dynamic that we were talking about with the optimist or the passionate person, and then the realistic person, the person who's driven by their instinct and their gut and their intuition, and the other that's rooted in in more logical, analytical stance, and those two together working together to find the best path forward, which sometimes is action and sometimes is not.
Hmm. Right.
Or balance right wise action. I'm glad you brought up this thing about what's good for the business, because if you are overly taken off by rage and vindictiveness, your energy is zapped. So you need to do what you need to do, but you gotta still keep the focus on the business, opposed to just getting back at this person who, did something that's not right. So
Especially
that's
in oil and gas, it all comes back to ROR, which Jay, you and I have talked about so many times. It's return on relationships. It's that cyclical narrative that is the thread that keeps the oil and gas industry together. It really does.
Yeah.
So, but
No, that's
it
right. And I will say this too, is like, if you, if if you're building a healthy company and you're not looking for the quick, get rich quick,
mhm.
you're building it over time. You're building with the right people. I know it's hard to read people. It's hard to, find the people that are going to be the right people, I guess, or the I'll say right people, or the people that are really the um, people that they're going to be with you long term.
Yeah,
And
that aren't just good on paper.
yeah, we had to let a guy go this previous week, and it's like he wasn't a good fit, but he interviewed extremely well, and it's like, hey, you know what? It's just not working, man. You would be incredible at another job at another spot. It's just not working out here, and it's kind of hard to do that from people with families. But I mean, we gave him some severance, but I'm just saying that you want to make it a good fit. So
Right.
I'm sure Yosi, something that you really do work with is finding the right people on the bus. The I forget who wrote that line. The right people on the bus, was that oh man, if I thought of it right there, I have it right. I mean, I'm thinking about the different,
Perplexity.
yeah, complexity. Who wrote uh, getting the right people on the bus? But also it's like, you know, get what gets measured gets done. I mean, there's so many different things that you think about in growing a business and having a healthy business and something that's scalable. Building a scalable business, from the very beginning, and that's why I'm looking at the what we do in the future is the 20 J units, where we go in and buy enough acreage to drill 20 wells and have offsetting locations. That's worth 300 to 400 million, and we just do that over and over and over again. It's like that's our deal, man. I got a friend of mine who's on the back cover of my book called The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. But David Moore with Night Vest Apartments, it's a scalable business. I mean, he doesn't have to. It's not him anymore. I mean, he runs the revenue side or the raising money side, but other than that, you know, the buying of the apartments, looking at all the apartment complexes that you have to go through to find a good deal. What's a good value add? What's find the construction people that can redo the units once you buy them. All that's scalable. It's a great scalable business that you have, and then it's just by putting the right people on board, because you have your systems in place. So that's
Yeah, you
incredible. Tell
got
me
the
something.
formula down. You got the formula of the thing, and then you're just replicating it. So it's like a
Right,
franchise. You got the concept, and then you just know where to put other locations, and you can scale it. Exactly.
right, right.
But then
Well,
it comes
Jay,
down to, as you said, to getting the right people.
But I do want to talk about one of Jordan's famous, let's say famous questions for
my
you.
famous last question. Are we
My
ready?
famous last words. Okay.
Here we
My
go. Here we
famous last
go.
words. Okay,
Yep.
let's see
Well,
what comes out.
Yossi, seeing what you've seen throughout your career and being where you are now, what piece of advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
Wow. Dream big, get some friends and mentors that can support and ground you.
I think that wraps it
That's
up
great.
nicely. I think
Well, I
that
did,
wraps
and
up our whole conversation just
yeah.
perfectly with a nice little like bow.
A little
Yeah.
bow. Okay, my famous last words. Okay.
Well, I tell you what, you can waste so much time and effort in this lifetime by not doing the right thing or not finding something scalable. So it's you're
Not
right,
having the
and
right support system and community to be that sounding board and help
yeah,
keep your focus. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one side, like you said, the tension between but you gotta also dream big and believe in yourself and your possibility. So it's that tension between the aspiration that keeps you motivated, energized, and inspired, and then that support system, the mentoring that keep you grounded and support you on your way. And
right.
yeah,
It's hard. It's incredibly tough to be a CEO. I mean, I know that Grant Cardone talks about it, but he said, I've been doing it for 40 years. It's like I built my career in 40 years, and he said I wasted a lot of them. I wasted a lot of years in the very beginning, but I'm also thinking about the same thing with what it's like you do. We waste a lot of time and effort when we're in our 20s or in our 30s, or we think we're going to live forever. We think that it's going to happen any day now, but we really don't put it down to paper. Even he said, he goes, I really didn't make any money until I was in my 50s, really any significant money. And all of a sudden, it's kind of like I think this is a really important. It's like when you don't need enough money or your money is generating you enough money to live and you're not worried about bills. You're not worried about paying your bills. You've got enough money coming in, you got enough employees, and you can afford to go out and hire new people to get to the next level. That's really when, I feel like that you really grow. And I think my word for 2026 is growth, right? Growth. You want to be in a company or you want to buy stock in a company that's growing. You want to have so many different traits of people that you're known for or you've helped in the past. And I think that's just an incredible way to think about, oh, how do we do this faster than it's like these young kids, the Facebook guy, Meta, and Zuckerberg, those kind of guys, when they're so young, it's like, how did you even think? Michael Dell, I mean, he grows his billion-dollar business. Now the guy's worth over 100 billion, but he grows it out of he sells computers in his dorm room at UT, and all of a sudden starts Dell Computer, and all of a sudden here he goes, and it's just worth over 100 billion. But he took it private again. It went public, took it back private. But those kind of guys are just fascinating. Uh, what else are you reading, or what else is that? Some of the things that I can put on my book here. I do want to get your book. I don't see it in I was looking for it in Apple. I don't see it in Apple. Is it in Apple?
No, it's not. Apple's not a book. I mean, so you can see it on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble.
Amazon. Okay, I need to see it on Amazon. I need to download it. I just download all my books on Apple. That's how.
Oh
But
yeah,
anyway, I'll look at.
you can download it as either as an ebook or as an Audible. So you can
Oh,
hear if you like my voice after hearing me for the last whatever, and my voice doesn't annoy you, then you can have my book read.
I listen to you the whole time, huh? But we're
Yeah.
driving. We're driving back and forth to Oklahoma to go see Michaela, our daughter, play volleyball. When we're on that 2.5 mile, 2.5 hour track, I can listen. How long is the book? Is it a long time?
To listen to it,
Yeah.
I forget. I think it's like 8 hours, the whole
Yeah.
thing. It's like
there
Yeah.
you go. You got 4 trips, Jay.
That's four cousin.
But just
Knocked out.
careful. Some of the exercises I lead people through a meditation or whatever.
Ah,
Oh,
So, just to connect to the depth of your heart or your spirit or your future self. So there's some guided meditations there. So doing it on the audiobook, I basically do the guided meditation. So please don't be driving at 70 miles an hour while
while
you're doing
meditating.
that.
What
Oh
was
man.
What was the title one more time, just for our listeners?
Oh, spiritually intelligent leadership.
Love it.
How how to inspire by being inspired.
I love it.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Wait, hey, maybe we can get some autographed copies of that book in here or something or whatever. But I will definitely want to look at it or think about it. I love that's. I'm a
Jay's all
sponge
about the
for
books.
read.
Every week we've been talking about different books that he's been doing, but it's been such a pleasure, Yossi, having you on and talking with you about spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, the loneliness of a CEO, and how we can, reposition ourselves with the right team in place to have a stronger stance. So it's been awesome to talk with you today.
Yeah, it's been fun, Jordan, Jay. I mean, you guys are fun, and I really love this three-way we've had. So
Yeah,
yeah, and you're
Great.
it's
dancing.
been well,
Okay.
it's been great, and I'll tell you what. If and I'm hoping that somebody listens and learns, and then takes this to the next step, because hey, you've got a lot of great. There's different viewpoints and there's different ways that when businesses go from 0 to 20 employees, and all of a sudden they need coaching to get them to the 40 employees or the 100. It's like always CEOs are needed, and a good sounding board is very it's definitely needed. And people like you just really seen a lot of experiences, and I know we didn't get into a lot of the real time or the real nitty gritty. And I know you probably wouldn't have told us that, but anyway,
You
just
want some
that.
of my
So
dirty stories? Yeah,
yeah.
I tell them in my book.
Oh, I bet you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
great.
you read the introduction. I tell all my deep secrets that I wouldn't talk publicly. No, I joke around. It's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's very good. Well, hey, great. I'm glad you're here. We hope that you have. What's your biggest New Year's resolution? Is there one New Year's resolution, or is there one thing that you want to accomplish this year?
One New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to maintain my balance. This last year was very exciting. I had a lot of projects that came to great success, like a TEDx talk, a column in
Oh,
Inc.
good.
magazine. I have a blog in Psychology Today. I did the study with 100 couples. Now I'm launching a program for corporations on spiritually intelligent leadership. So my resolution is to just pace myself. I'm a little bit like a kid in a candy store, and it's all very yummy. But if I try and take
Overload.
too
Yeah.
much, then I'll burn myself out. So
There you go.
that's my
Hey, good.
resolution.
Well, I appreciate that. And Jordan, it's great seeing you again. Thank you for being here. Elsie, thank you very much. And if we want to reach out to you, how do we reach out to you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to spirituallyintelligentleadership.com.
Okay.
Which will, go to my website. I can give you my website, but most people won't remember my name. It's yosiamram.net. But I would recommend go to spirituallyintelligentleadership.com. And that's the easiest way, and it will take you to my website. From there, you could see all my projects and crazy ideas, my coaching website. There's a free assessment tool for spiritual intelligence that I offer. There's my psychotherapy. There's some of the nonprofits I've started and run. But yeah,
That's great. That's
Fantastic.
great.
thank
Well,
you.
I guarantee you it's not spiritually emotional leadership. It's not that. Okay. So if you're trying to Google it like I did and you put spiritual emotion, it's not it. So don't try to find it from there, but it is under uh,
Spiritually,
spiritual, intelligent leadership. It is there. And here's the book. Here's the audio book. It's incredible. Thank you very much. Hey, let's wrap up today. Thank you very much for being here today. I hope you learned a lot. Ask questions down below and always join. And we appreciate you being here. Wow.
Yep.
Hey, Jordan, what about that deal? What about Yossi? What'd
You
you
know,
think
I
about him?
just spiritual intelligence is something that we've talked a lot about, and as we were in that
interview, it was something that was referenced a lot. I think a lot of times people talk about emotional intelligence, but
Hmm.
we understand that faith and spiritual intelligence is really important when it comes to leadership, particularly as a CEO.
Yeah.
It gets into that lonely space, and you need to have the awareness spiritually to have faith that things are going to work out and to have vision as well. So,
Right. Right. No, I agree. I agree. And hey, coaches are needed. I mean, LeBron James spends 5 million, 10 million a year on coaches every year. I mean, of
mhm.
course, he can afford it. Maybe not that much. I don't know, but just about coaches and about having people there that can help you get along better. And it's not that we're not self motivated as a CEO or as a athlete at that level, but the more coaching
Mhm.
you get, the more you learn, the more that goes into your brain. I mean, man, I can't.
Yes.
It's like the more you have going into your brain, the better it is. The motivational, and the people you hang around. You are a sum of the
Mhm.
five people that you hang around. I don't know if I've ever said that on this show or not, but you are a sum of the five people.
I don't know that you have.
Yeah, yeah. But so I really believe that you're the sum of the five people that you hang
Mhm.
around, because it's so important about
Mhm.
who you hang out with and what you do on a daily basis and what goes into your brain. It's kind of like my buddy Dr. Mike Goddard. He's the head of schools at Prestonwood. He had a saying on his social media, and it said, "In the morning, before you get in your head, get Christ in your head. Put Jesus
Mm.
Christ in your head first before you get in your head," which is so true, right? We can get in our head so fast and just spin. I mean, go in
Yeah.
in a TikTok or in a so much of a productive time frame. And if you put Christ there first and make sure that you're doing the right things, it's so easy in today's world getting stepped off or getting into something so unproductive. Making sure that it is something that you're passionate about and that you're walking the right path. Um, you know,
Absolutely. And I feel like what you're talking about directly lines up with your word of the week. Is it time for Jay's weekly five?
hey, I think it is. Let's go. Weekly five. It's a weekly five.
All
The
right,
first is word of the week. What's
word
word
of
of the
the
week?
week. What is it?
Focus. Focus.
Focus.
Focus and focus. Yeah. Focus. Exactly. I mean, when people talk about focus and they talk about, they want to be successful. I've heard so many different people, employees over
Mm.
the years, and they interview very well, and they really decide I'm gonna get this job with this guy because I want to work here, and
Mhm.
it doesn't change their stripes. You know what I'm saying? It's like they may
Right.
say they're great, but they don't focus and they don't take advantage of the opportunities sometimes, and that's why I really love the word of the week is focus. It says we don't drift into great leadership. You decide what matters and give it your attention. What is it
You
that
know,
you need to have?
You're just as you were talking about when you wake up in the morning, what are you giving your attention to? What are you focusing on? What is the first thing that enters your mind? And then when you're in a situation in a leadership position, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What are you focusing on? And that's really important. I think also having drawing back to our conversation with Yosi is where is your spiritual intelligence at? Where is your
Mm-hmm.
emotional intelligence at? And when you are in a situation, what are you giving focus to while remaining centered? And if you remain centered and have that emotional intelligence and have that spiritual intelligence, then you're going to be able to focus on the things that matter, give that your attention, and move forward with confidence. And I think also with the calmness as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that true focus really allows the opportunity for calmness, confidence, and direct focus.
Yeah. Oh man, 100%. I said that in a sales meeting this morning. I was like, guys, I'm gonna tell you something right now. There's nobody gonna keep me from this. About my 20 well package. It's like I want to show investors how to go from 75 million to 200 million, let's say. And
Right.
and I'm not gonna go into all the numbers now, but focusing on that because we can get. It's so easy to go. Oh well, hey, how about this deal over here? Or what about this deal
Hmm.
over here? Or
man, this could make our clients, triple, whatever, and it's like, no, that's not what we're doing. We've got our
Right.
head down right here. We're going to focus on this. This is what we're going to do so we can sell a good portion of our assets by end of the year, this year, 2026.
Right.
If I get unfocused on that, or if I start thinking about projects over in other areas, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we go over there, we go over here. It's not like you're focused and thinking about what's the best thing for your clients today. Let's hit some singles, doubles, which we are in the mid-continent region or the Bivens region. Sell it, baby. Let's go.
Well,
But
and like you're saying, like if you're trying to do everything, then you're going to do nothing,
yeah,
right? You have a limited amount of resources that need to be allocated towards certain projects so that you meet things, if not at in their timeline, before that timeline, right? And early on deliverables. But when you're looking at your resource allocation, you really need to make sure that you're focusing efforts and resources on the initiatives that are going to make the most impact, whether that's for your business or for your clients or both.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, having that focus, having that attention is really crucial. And I think we're seeing the fruits of your labor with focus at King Operating, which is really exciting.
yeah. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend over the holiday here, and I was just saying, you know what, man, we make this thing so hard sometimes, but it's so easy.
Mm.
It's so easy to get deterred or get. It's like, oh, well,
Right.
wait a minute, maybe that is the best thing over here, or maybe this is, focus, stay strong on what you feel like is a good project, follow through with it, and you'll have the best outcome for your investors. Maybe not every time, you don't know, but you know what? Just have a plan and then focus.
Mhm.
What's a good thing for you to focus on this year? What can I help you focus on this year, Jordan?
I want to focus on like I was mentioning resource allocation. I really want to continue to invest in the real estate market and I want to move forward with another Airbnb project. And so I need to make sure that I have my funds in the right place so that I can continue forward with that initiative. So and then also, which is something you talk a lot about is tax benefits and tax just managing taxes in a way that doesn't overwhelm you because I
Mm-hmm.
think as a new entrepreneur that is something that is quite overwhelming is tax strategy
Yeah. Oh my
or
gosh, it's
lack
so
thereof.
important. Yeah, yeah. I was watching this video about taxes, and this lady said, you know what, the standard deduction did go up, but you don't. But every year it goes up a little bit based on inflation.
Mhm.
But it's like
Right.
take advantage of the write-offs that you can have. There's so many different tax strategies and things that are going. But I'll tell you what, I thought about you over the last couple of weeks because I mean we were in Cabo and we're thinking about rental properties, and I'm like,
Right.
man, I think they're way overpriced. I think they're way overpriced there, and it's like if I could just put in money, if I could invest or have a fund to put in money in a project, and you could spit out some revenue, and the rental income will pay that note payment, or if you have a note, or if you're not, you're distributing out to the investors or keeping some of the money. But it's like you want
Mhm.
to you want to increase the value of these funds, and so I'm really thinking about. And I found a place in Dallas that I'm interested in. It's an old condo high rise that I lived in a long time ago, and they're so cheap. They're not very much money at all for these high rise overlooking
Mhm.
downtown Dallas on Northwest Highway, and I'm like, man, what's wrong with these things? So I'm getting ready to call my guy and go, hey, call them and see what's going on with these things because man,
Right.
if you could buy these things for $300,000 to $400,000, and you could rent them out for $2,000 to $3,000 a month, I mean, there's a really good place there for cash flow while real estate appreciates, which I know is where you want to be. So I'm going to help you
Right.
focus. I want to help you focus this year on getting some money together, getting more knowledge about what real estate can do for you. Okay, Laura's looking at her watch, so I think we need to move on. Bible verse of the week, Philippians 3:13 and 14. Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. I press on toward the goal. That's our Bible verse of the week, Philippians 3:13-14. Forgetting what is behind, obviously, and straining toward what is ahead. Press on toward the goal. Find your goal. You know what? I've said this too in videos about, hey, whatever happened before, it happened before. Learn from it.
Right.
But also learn from some things that you've, experienced, or learn from somebody else, like my brother did growing up. I mean, I was the one in trouble all the time, and all he had to do was sit back and just, take notes. What did Jay do?
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Well, he got his little butt whooped for that. I think I'm going to stay away from that one. So definitely. All right. What we have book recommendation here. There's a book that I've thought about. I don't even know if I've had it on here, but it's called See You at the Top with Zig Zigler. I don't even know, but anyway, I don't know if anybody's ever read that book, but I need to have that on my wall here. I need to have that book on my wall because that is one of the best books that I read back. Oh my goodness. I just turned 63. So I think this was like,
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. 45 years ago or something. Zig Zigler. I mean, I read it, and it's about getting ahead, and it's about positive attitude, how much more we
Right.
can get with a positive attitude rather than negative attitude. So anyway, also listen to I listened to Joe Rogan about the Joe Rogan with Jelly Roll, my daughter's boyfriend. He liked another one better, but I'm like, that's a great podcast. That's a great podcast, Joe Rogan, Jelly Roll. He loses 300 pounds.
I'll tell you what,
300.
it's been all over Instagram, social media. I used to work in country radio, and so if you don't know, Jelly Roll is a country artist, and kind of in the same vein as like Sam Hunt kind of territory,
Mm-hmm.
I would say a little bit. But he was I want to say uh, he had he'd gotten in trouble with the law a few times, turned his life over to God, then was really overweight. He's lost a whole bunch of weight, and I'm sure he goes through that whole story on Joe Rogan. But it's so interesting when people are focusing on themselves and focusing on bettering themselves, to see some of the feedback from people that's in a negative light really always surprises me, because
Mm-hmm.
this person is really trying to better themselves, and instead of people being like, this is so weird, he looks so weird, what's wrong with him, I hope, I'm sure he talks about this in Joe Rogan as well, but um even with the negativity surrounding you, as you are trying to better yourself and focus on yourself, and accomplishing what you're wanting to accomplish and focusing on that, let the negativity kind of just dissipate and go
Oh
away,
yeah,
because there's
absolutely.
always going to be the naysayers. It's really more about you focusing on what's the next best thing for you.
Oh man, hey, I mean, soar with the Eagles. You can't hang around people that are negative or that are mediocre. You can't hang out with the, what do you call it? Soar with Eagles. You can't hang around the turtles or the turds or the, I don't know what it was, but
I don't
it's
know, but
something
I
down
like
there.
turds. Hang out
Yeah,
with eagles and
It-
not turds.
yeah, exactly. Hey, you're a sum of the five people you hang around, and and if you're hanging around people that are positive, and if you're hanging around if you're hanging around five drug dealers, if that's your friends or drug dealers or people that are smoking crack all the time, guess what, man?
Yeah.
You're not far from the same thing. So I love
Yeah.
that. Stay positive. Stay with good people that are really something that's great, that are just very humble. Humble people. I love
Mhm.
humble people, and I love humble people that accomplish things, and they don't care what people say. They don't care what people think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to
It
hang
is
out
hard.
with people that
It's
are.
hard to craft the community around you. That is really what you are, like that. It's hard to craft a good community if you don't know what to focus on or to look for in people. And I think whenever you're younger, you're more susceptible to maybe the potential of a person rather
Mhm.
than the patterns, and recognizing the reality of who that person is, right?
Yeah.
And wanting to be around people because they're fun and exciting. And then as you grow up, you're like, actually, you're fun and exciting, but you're not really doing anything,
Right.
And
Right.
I want to be around people who are ambitious and action oriented.
Right.
And building a community around those kinds of people really will change you because you'll pick up those habits of those other people.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I love that. That is so good because it is. It's like you're you're hanging around negative people or people that don't know or don't have never done it before, and that's why having a
Hmm.
mentor is so important. I'm trying to think of some
Right.
of my early mentors that I had. I mean, Steve Miller here in town, was a great mentor. Just a really classy guy that looked ahead, looked several years ahead, and just looked at positivity and giving back.
Right.
He went on mission trips all the time, from the company, and we were back there making the sausage, and making money, and he was off on mission trips all the time, but he was giving
Hmm.
back and doing a great thing for humanity, and something
Right.
that to find somebody that you respect and you like and you want to be like. It's not like
Hmm.
it's don't make this thing real hard. Don't try to figure everything out for yourself.
Yes.
Because
There's
you'll
someone who's done
yeah,
it before.
absolutely made all the mistakes. They've already done it. They've already said, hey, that's not going to work. And
Right.
even though we try to listen to our parents, my dad would say, Jay, let me tell you what you're getting ready to do, and I would do it. And he would say, I told you so. I'll tell you once again, I told you. And I'm like, I
Hmm.
know. Well, why didn't I just listen? What? I think
It's
people that
it's
are,
hard to hear your parents. It's hard to hear them,
yeah, exactly.
It's easier. And we see this in so many intimate relationships, I feel like, which is why people go to therapy and therapists
Hmm.
and have mentors because they can in what you see as a non-judgmental, it's this outside perspective, right? Even though you're the person who's closest to you, whether that's your partner or your family, whenever they give you advice, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
where's
exactly.
the external person?
Right,
But
right.
yeah, again, but even with all of that advice, it still takes the focus in order to get onto the path that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. Well, exactly, 100%. I love that. That's great. You have to listen to people and learn and I don't know where it is in life that we just don't listen to our parents. It's like, oh, we don't listen to our parents.
I think
What?
it's about 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah. They tell you to stop it or whatever so many times. It's like, oh my gosh, so you just kind of fall
Stop
off
telling
that
me to
truck.
stop.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but anyway, I think it's
But you also
interesting.
we're hard-headed. We need to learn ourselves, I think.
Yeah, but there are some people that learn so much quicker in life. There's
Mm,
guys with billion-dollar ideas that make billions of dollars, the Zuckerbergs or whatever. I mean, they just get so smart so fast. Michael Dell,
mhm,
those kind of guys. I mean, they just get it so fast. And I don't know if it's because of their upbringing or if it's because of they learned something early and just thought, okay, they found the Lord
mhm,
faster, and they decided not to go off on the. I was playing college sports, and all of a sudden, I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough or not, so I quit
mm,
because of
mhm.
women and beer. It's like, hey, I'm gonna start dating women, and I like beer, and I'm like, why don't I just do that instead? It's like, oh, that makes a lot
Right.
of. Hey, then I wasted the
Well,
next.
I mean, it's what
Yeah,
you focus on, and what you give life to. I mean, I think the hyper focus on specific things is the path that you're gonna take,
yeah,
and you see this in life, and also with thoughts. I think I was at a sermon one time, and it said, what you give energy to, what you focus on, is what you breathe life into. So you can either breathe life into faith or you can breathe life into worry. It depends on what you're focusing your thoughts on and what you're working towards,
right,
and giving that energy to, right? So yeah, I think like Yosi had said, that manifestation as well with CEOs and really like thinking at what you want the outcome to be and working backwards from that and realizing that and focusing your energy there and then and then all the way through, like we've talked about a lot, that spiritual element as well. So there's so many different things that you can focus on and work towards, but it
the community matters, the focus and intention matters,
Hmm.
and then also, I mean, at the end of the day, I think also ambition, right? We're really ambitious people. We want to accomplish some things, and we focus on what we want to accomplish, and we get there.
Yeah. Oh, great. That's awesome. Yeah, and I don't know how people do that. How do you focus on something and just anything else in your life? It's like I heard a preacher the other day say something about anything that I hear, anything that goes into my ear, that I feel, that I touch, that I'm working or actions or whatever. He said, I think about it before I do it. Is the Lord
Mm,
okay with this? Is the Lord okay?
mm,
So it's like if you're getting ready to turn over an X-rated movie or something, or if you're getting ready to curse, or if you're getting ready to do something that turn on a TV and I don't know, just something. But think about that, and I don't know, I don't know if kids just get it earlier than I did or something. I don't know. It's like I'll never forget. We always talk about it. I'm still on the executive board of scouting Boy Scouts, and it was Boy Scouts. Now it's scouting, and I'm still on the executive board of a Dallas group. And we always talk about, you make sure as a scoutmaster that you tell all your scouts to get their Eagle Scout before perfume and gasoline. Now it's different because there's girls in scouting program, Boy Scouts. But before it was like, because if they start driving cars and if they start smelling perfume from girls, those Boy Scouts are not going to get their Eagle Scout. And I got my Eagle Scout way before. No, I'll say way before, but before that. But if I wouldn't have done that, a lot of saying to that, they just lose interest.
mhm.
All that time
Right.
that they were spending, on their scouting badges and merit badges and skill awards, Order of the Arrow, things of that nature, you now spend it on, going up and down Main Street in your little hometown or something. So, but I love that. That's great. But anyway, what else? Anything else you'll talk about about Yosi, or think about?
No, I think it was a wonderful interview. I really appreciated having Yossi on our weekly five. We've gone through all of the weekly five. I mean, what are we looking at next week?
We've got a Ryan Binkley report play we're going to do. Ryan is now running for Congress in Texas. He did run for president. He's a good friend of mine. Play golf with him and his sons at Bentry, and Ryan's just an incredible guy. Really great guy, and he's running for Congress. And we're going to do a rerun there on some of that because he's so good. And he's busy now, or I would have him over or have him into the studio, and we would do something. So we're gonna have that. And we're also looking for other guests. So if you know of a guest, I reached out to a couple of guys over the weekend, and we're going to interview them in February. But they're on oil and gas, and they were talking about the Venezuela situation, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, man, hey, this would be great. So I reached out to them on LinkedIn, and I booked both of them, 2 for 2 on booking them as a guest. So I'm really glad of that. I've got a lot of other people that I have or have on the queue, I guess, to be. I've got Scott Turner, who's he's our Secretary of Housing. I got Marcus Spears, that's ESPN, Dallas Cowboy, ex-Dallas Cowboy. His daughter, Makaria Spears, is playing at the University of Texas volleyball. Marcus is a great friend, and Makaria wanted to spend her 16th birthday at my house instead of going home. So she loved our house, her and her friends. But they played volleyball together with my daughter, and so Spears is a great family. Their son's now like 6'8". He's still in high school,
Wow.
and he's like 6'8".
Oh my
It's
gosh.
incredible. Yeah, it's really.
I'm
really
really looking up to the heavens, looking at him.
I know. He
I'm
was the
5'2".
6'7". He was the 6'7" thing, right? Is that 6'7"
Oh
thing going
no,
around?
Jay.
No, he was, but now he passed that, so
And
I don't know.
and
Anyway,
uh, and don't forget we have Nate coming up in February as well, end of February timeframe. So a lot of things coming up for
yeah,
the Jay Young Show.
there really is.
Hmm.
Really, to look forward to it. I look forward to it all, and we're going to have a great time. And remember today that the word of the week was focus, and the Bible verse of the week was Philippians 3:13 and 14. And we talk about leadership, clarity, our capital discipline and how we make money and how we want our clients to make money in today's market. Faith and perspective, and playing the long game, which is what I love. I think it's a great way to go, a great way to end. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much for showing up today. We've had a great time, as always, with Jordan, and we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Thank you.